All right, what's going on, guys? Robert from Duff Fitness. Today we're continuing our interview series. Today we have Dr. Rachel Tourjee from Brookside Wellness, and she's going to tell us a little bit about herself to get started.
Hey, so I own Brookside Wellness, which is on Craft Road, just a few blocks from the gym. And in our clinic, we offer chiropractic, functional medicine, a supplement store, and pretty soon we're going to have protein smoothies and protein ice cream.
I didn't know that.
Which
cool.
should fit in nicely with what we're going to talk about today. Specifically in the clinic, I do a little bit of everything, but my focus since having a baby has been functional medicine. So with functional medicine, I identify protein need actually on each person in visit 1 because it's so important. We do body composition analysis to identify what people really need. And it's important for any condition that people come in for because protein drives a lot of our bodily functions. I see a lot of patients for gut health, for hormone balance, for weight loss, and pretty much regardless of what area you're coming in for help with, we're going to be focusing on nutrition intake for all of those. One thing I pride myself on in functional medicine is I'm not just a pill pusher. I always try to keep people on 5 supplements or less and really focus on lifestyle interventions with people, whether that be nutrition or fitness or sleep health or whatever we need to concentrate on. But I think that is something that sets me apart a little bit from other practitioners. So
cool. So what steered you more into that that style of being a practitioner, more like holistic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What steered you that direction versus the typical practitioner?
Right. So, I think with most people, they can relate to this. It was to fix my own problems.
Okay, yeah.
So I had weird gut problems through high school and college where I would get these stomach attacks that would be so painful that I would be, throwing up, and I'd, take myself to the ER or to the Well Now clinics or something, and nobody could ever really identify what was causing these attacks. They would always think, oh, maybe it's appendicitis. It never was, right? Eventually, I stumbled upon a functional medicine practitioner when I was living in Missouri, and he was able to resolve my stomach spasms literally in 2 visits.
Wow.
Between chiropractic adjustments and functional medicine interventions, figuring out that it was actually a valve on my lower right side that would go into spasms. And so he told me, strategies of foods that might trigger it, or how to fix my gut and make sure I don't have any infections in there so that I'm not getting it triggered in the future. And I have not had an episode since working with him. So I actually ended up asking to work for him.
Cool.
And actually trained with him for a couple of years before moving back to Michigan.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know. It's always cool seeing the origin of what got you into what you're doing.
Yeah.
For me, I'd gotten hurt multiple times playing sports. So I had to go to physical therapy, and I realized oh shoot, physical therapy is not just for old people. It's for anybody who has an injury from something not moving right.
Yeah.
So I actually initially started off thinking I was going to be a physical therapist, but then kind of got steered away, went the business route, got into personal training, and then oddly enough worked at a PT clinic for a little bit after that.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, stems from your own issues that you had that made you want to learn more about it and help other people with the same issues.
Right.
Cool. So obviously you know a ton of different topics. You have a lot of hats you wear at your clinic. Today I want to talk especially about protein.
Yeah.
And why it's important for everybody to eat protein, and in my opinion, put most of your attention nutritionally on protein. So I'd like to hear your take on protein.
Yeah. So my visit 1 lingo usually goes something like this. So what part of your body is made of a carbohydrate? Say an apple. What part of your body is made of an apple?
Nothing.
Never think of anything, right?
Yeah.
And that's because carbs are not what makes up our structure. Carbs are great for being energy storage. So if you have to go, sprint away from a predator, it's awesome to have that apple stored somewhere nutritionally speaking, but it's not our foundation. It's not structural. When you think about our structure, what part of your body is made of steak? All of your muscles,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, when we do a body composition analysis on people, it's you have your muscle, your bone, and water is most of what our structure is made of, weight-wise. So if we want to build our muscle or our bone, we need to be eating constituents of those things, right? So if you eat, like, say, a ribeye with the bone in, you're literally getting everything you need, from like the protein to the collagen to the things that attach everything to the bone to build that structure on yourself, right? And a lot of us have trouble with, athletic injuries or joint pain or back pain. A lot of these things can be because our body's not recovering, even just from our day-to-day life. It doesn't have to be from athletics. Like, I know even just chasing my 1-year-old around a lot of times and lifting her 100 times a day is enough to make my knees sore, right? And if I'm not eating enough protein that week, I feel like I can perceive my body eating itself for energy, which is literally what's happening. Like, if you're not eating enough protein, your body needs those amino acids, and it will actually go mining in your own tissue to get them. And then you're going to have a lot more muscle and joint pain because you're eating yourself for energy, as opposed to building muscle and building joints when you're eating enough protein.
Makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know what I typically do with clients is, most people that come to me who are looking for weight loss are drastically under eating, especially in protein.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how many times somebody comes in and we average it out and they think they eat a lot, and it's like 50 to 60 grams protein per day.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, what I typically recommend at the end goal is striving towards your goal body weight in grams of protein, which if someone's eating 50 to start, and I say, well, if you want to be 180 pounds, then that's your goal of protein. Instead of jumping right to that 180 from the 50, what I like to do is kind of have them chip at it. Every couple of weeks, add 10 to 15 grams or so.
Right.
Which makes it a lot more digestible, literally and, metaphorically. And working the way that way, and then focusing on like whole food proteins first, and saving like supplements for, like, oh shoot, it's 9 o'clock, I forgot to eat my midday snack, I'm 20 grams short, I'm gonna add a shake in then.
Right.
And then as local sourced protein as possible as they can get. So like a local butcher who sells quarter cows is what I recommend.
Right.
Catching fish from the lake is what I recommend. Avoiding farm raised fish from the store.
Yeah.
And whatnot. Eggs, right? Eggs from local people now, which you can find eggs everywhere. Is there any other protein tip that you could suggest for somebody that they could do today?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm 100% in agreement with you. First off, that you need to incrementally work your way up. Your stomach is a muscle that has to be trained. So yeah, if you're used to eating 60 grams a day and you want to jump up to 150 or your goal body weight, like you said, like, you're not going to get there tomorrow. If you jump from 60 to 150, you're going to get a stomach ache, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, just trying to add like one extra serving initially and work your way up is great. My good rule that tends to work for people is, I say, try to get 50 grams in before noon. So it sounds overly simplified, but the time of day that most people struggle with eating protein is like breakfast, right?
For sure.
Because if you're a 5 a.m. person and you're getting up and you're just like, I don't have the appetite to eat a steak at 5 a.m., right? I'm like, fine, like, go ahead and fast. I'm good with that, but you have to get some kind of significant protein intake before noon, and that really sets up your metabolism for the rest of the day to be able to like burn fat, so that you're not burning your own muscle for energy, like I said before. Because if you're waiting till dinner time to eat your protein, there's a good chance that you're eating your own muscle tissue for energy that whole first half of the day, especially if you're an early morning person.
For sure, yeah.
Right? So, and usually if you get that 50 grams of protein in before noon, you will have like little to no cravings in the evening. Because a lot of times your cravings in the evening is just because you didn't get enough in the first half of your day.
For sure.
So really front loading it helps people hit their goals a lot easier, because there's no way you're eating 150 grams at dinner and digesting it. You're going to be miserable.
Right.
We have to like spread our protein out to be able to digest it better. So trying to get that in before noon is a good tidbit.
No, I like that. Plus, too, if you're eating the protein early in the day, then you're more likely to be moving around, right? Which is going to help the digestive process versus slamming 100 grams of protein at dinner and then passing out, right? That's gonna
It's like overload.
It's gonna disrupt your digestive system.
Right.
And then 2, it's gonna affect your sleep.
Yeah.
Right? Which is another topic we're gonna cover in the future.
Yeah, because it heats you right up. When like protein increases your metabolism, it heats your body up. In order to sleep, you need to cool your body down.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does work against you if you're just trying to eat 1 million grams at dinner and not the rest of the day.
For sure. Now, when it comes to protein supplements, just out of your preference, I know I've had a few different varieties of protein.
Hmm.
Whey protein typically doesn't settle great for me, so I go
Hmm.
with a vegan protein. I know it's also bone broth protein, which I've just started getting. Do you have one that you find to be most more most consistently better for most people, or do you have like different ones you recommend for different people, and kind of why?
Yeah, so definitely different for different people. My number one rule for protein is eat what you digest best,
Okay.
right? So if you eat a protein, like I don't care what brand, what kind, if you are burping and bloated within a half an hour of using it, it's not the right protein for you,
Okay.
right? Like I know you do great with the vegan protein.
Hmm.
If I drink vegan protein, I am bloated within a half hour and burping and I get negative side effects, right? Your protein should be a positive experience,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So if you're having these like negative experiences from your protein powder, it's not the right one for you and you should definitely take note of that because any food that causes like gas, bloating and burping, you're not digesting it and it's going to be a negative thing for your digestive tract. So I mean, I'd say it's definitely like 50-50 on like vegan versus whey protein on what people can handle. I mean, whey protein is definitely the fastest to absorb if you can handle it. But the pea and rice protein blends are great because they're still going to be a complete amino acid. And then, very lastly, I will move people into what I would consider the paleo proteins, which are usually made from bone broth.
Hmm.
And they're some combination of like a steak and egg protein and a collagen, usually all in one. I use that for extremely sensitive gut patients. So anybody that has like leaky gut or a lot of autoimmune diseases or just like a lot of food sensitivities in general, I tend to move them into like the paleo bone broth type proteins because they are the most immune neutral, but they're not always the easiest to digest.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Yeah. I know too. I have some bone broth protein now, and also the dosages is very low. Like a scoop is like 13 grams of protein.
Right. Yeah.
So I've been doing 2 scoops of my vegan protein and a scoop of that after my early morning workout to get my
Yeah.
protein started for the day. And then it's just
Yeah.
eating tons of protein the rest of the day.
Right. Yeah, and that's a perfect strategy. I do have a lot of people that, yeah, combo them or go back and forth, because the collagen and bone broth proteins are feeding like your hair, skin, nail, joints, connective tissues. Whereas if you're looking at your typical like vegan or whey protein, it's going to be more muscle specific.
For sure. Cool. So I mean, shoot, thanks for joining us today, Rachel. You covered protein like perfectly. I think this will help out everybody in the Duff Fitness community a lot, and really help off with our 21-day challenge that's starting off soon.
Mhm.
Well, by the time you see this, it'll be started.
Yeah.
So I just want to give you a chance to like put out your website or your social media or anything that you want to have that we can link at the bottom of this description too.
Yeah, so my functional medicine site is brooksidenutrition.com, and there's online scheduling on there for any appointment. And if you really want to just dive into how much protein your body actually needs, you can schedule body composition scans on there as well.
Cool. Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today,
Yeah.
Rachel.
Absolutely.